Surge in mainland personal loan non-performing assets may trigger bankruptcy wave. 85-year-old in Jiangxi sells bamboo shoots for 8 yuan, pays 10 yuan for stall fee. Peking University professor goes viral. Who will care for 45 million disabled elderly? Foreign professors nearly cleared from China. Analysis: academia is political. Top EU businessman plans to leave Beijing after unexpectedly getting caught in CCP infighting. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Surge in mainland personal loan non-performing assets may trigger bankruptcy wave. As China's economic engine sputters, the consequences extend far beyond struggling businesses and indebted local governments. Individual wealth is evaporating, leaving a growing number of people drowning in personal debt and unable to meet their financial obligations. This escalating crisis threatens not only the financial stability of the nation but also the social fabric that underpins it. A deluge of bad loans. The severity of the situation is starkly illustrated by a recent report from the Credit Asset Registration and Circulation Center Company, Limited. The data reveals a surge in non-performing loan (NPL) transfer projects during the fourth quarter of 2023. The number of projects doubled compared to the previous quarter, reaching 336, with a staggering transaction volume of 75.29 billion yuan, approximately $10.4 billion, a year-over-year increase of 327.78%. This trend persisted throughout 2023, with the total transaction volume for NPL bulk transfers reaching 119.37 billion yuan, around $16.47 billion, marking a 222.71% increase from 2022. Individual NPL transfers experienced particularly explosive growth, with 390 projects accounting for 96.53 billion yuan, about $13.3 billion, a 449.4% surge from the previous year. The scale of the problem. Experts paint a grim picture of the current scale of non-performing individual loans in China. Jiang from the Financial Distressed Assets Research Center of China University of Political Science and Law estimates that the Chinese financial system currently holds around 10 trillion yuan, approximately $1.4 trillion, in non-performing assets. This figure is projected to double by 2025, reaching a staggering 20 trillion yuan, about $2.8 trillion, and representing 10% of total bank loan balances. Jiangxi.com reports that non-performing individual loan assets have already reached a trillion yuan scale, while Lu Muji of the Asset Financial Market Department in Hainan predicts the market could eventually balloon into the tens or even hundreds of trillions of yuan. Blacklisted and burdened. As previously reported, nearly 10 million people in China have been blacklisted for unpaid debts. The majority of these debts are credit card overdrafts and personal consumer loans, making up 60.8% and 25.6% of the total, respectively. This increase in bank defaults is linked to China's deteriorating economic conditions, the real estate downturn, and rising unemployment. Over 8.54 million people were added to the blacklist in 2023, with the majority being between 18 and 59 years old. These individuals face restrictions on purchasing airline tickets and using digital payment platforms. The surge in bad personal loans has also negatively impacted the asset quality and capital adequacy of banks. For example, the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China had an increase of 11.202 billion yuan, about $1.5 billion, in bad personal loans, leading to a rise in the bad loan rate. Other major banks have also seen an increase in bad personal loans. Managing the crisis, a flawed approach. The Chinese Communist Party's primary strategy for managing non-performing individual loan assets involves bulk transfers to local asset management companies, AMCs. Since the program's inception in early 2021, these AMCs have absorbed nearly all such assets. While this approach allows financial institutions to offload bad loans, it comes at a significant cost, often resulting in substantial losses. For instance, Home Credit Consumer Finance recently sold a non-performing loan package at a mere 4.3% of its total value due to the sluggish economy and high recovery costs. Further exacerbating the situation is the absence of a personal bankruptcy law in China. This legal void not only leaves indebted individuals vulnerable but also hinders the broader economic system, including the stability of corporate bankruptcy processes. Entrepreneurs, who are vital to business operations, lack legal protections when their enterprises fail, leading to desperate measures such as fleeing or suicide. The lack of a personal bankruptcy framework removes a crucial stabilizing force that could facilitate equitable mediation between debtors and creditors. Social unrest and an uncertain future. The confluence of factors, including the lack of legal protection for debtors, the plummeting real estate market, and rising unemployment, has created a perfect storm for social unrest. Incidents of violence related to debts are on the rise, reflecting the growing desperation and hostility among the populace. Coupled with the current wave of mass bankruptcies in China, the situation suggests that without significant reforms, including the introduction of personal bankruptcy laws, social instability will likely worsen, ultimately surely leading to a backlash against the stability of the CCP regime. 85-year-old in Jiangxi sells bamboo shoots for 8 yuan, pays 10 yuan for stall fee. On April 24, a video went viral across mainland China showing a heartbreaking scene: an 85-year-old man setting up a stall at a vegetable market to sell bamboo shoots he had harvested himself. Despite earning just 8 yuan, about $1.1 for the day, he was charged a 10 yuan, about $1.30 stall fee, wiping out his earnings for the day. In the video, onlookers noted that the man likely went without water or food, walking for hours, only to lose money in the end. Netizens pointed out that while 10 yuan might only cover a young person's breakfast, for this man, it was more than his daily earnings. This scene leads to profound contemplation about the harsh realities of society. Some netizens criticize the market management's actions, arguing that they should focus more on the elderly man's welfare rather than just collecting fees for the stall. This event highlights a broader issue: the lack of adequate pensions for rural seniors. Many are barely scraping by, forced to continue working to support themselves. Peking University professor goes viral: who will care for 45 million disabled elderly? An article featured in China News Weekly in mid-April delves into the demanding life of Yuan, a Peking University professor in his 50s, who has been caring for his 85-year-old mother with severe Alzheimer's over the past 3 years. This story has resonated widely across Chinese society, depicting Yuan's days as chopped up into countless urgent tasks. He can't even keep track of the number of times he changes his mother's clothes, cleans her phlegm, or wipes her mouth each day. His life has no set routine, disrupted at any moment by sudden needs. In addition to these caregiving duties, he cooks all meals, does the laundry, gives her medication, pushes her wheelchair for neighborhood walks, and cleans up after her during the night. In the scant gaps between these duties, he manages to sleep, work, write books and academic papers, talk to his teenagers, and spend time with his wife. Who said, expecting miracles is futile? You have to face the harsh reality that despite your increased efforts, your loved one continues to age and move closer to death. Yuan's experience reflects a broader issue in China, where nearly 300 million people were aged 60 or older by the end of 2023, representing over 21% of the population. Projections suggest that by 2035, this demographic could grow to more than 400 million, accounting for over 30% of the population and highlighting a significant shift towards an aging society. The situation is compounded by the high number of disabled or dementia-afflicted seniors, with 1 in every 8 unable to live independently. The caregiving crisis is exacerbated by China's historical one-child policy, which has resulted in a 4-to-1 family structure, comprising 4 grandparents, 2 parents, and 1 child, leaving many without sibling support to care for aging parents. This has forced many to quit jobs and juggle care with remote work to make ends meet. Further complicating elder care, Tang Heng, a sociology PhD candidate studying nursing homes, found that in northern Chinese cities, Many small, unofficial nursing operations disguise themselves as home care agencies. Run by middle-aged individuals, these operations rent spaces to provide elder care services at about 1,000 yuan, about $138 monthly, much cheaper than formal facilities. These informal setups primarily serve seniors who lack access to affordable care, including those whose children have moved away for jobs, as well as disabled and widowed elders. In response to these challenges, China introduced long-term care insurance, LTCI, in 2016, now covering 49 cities and 170 million people. Despite its reach, the system faces criticism for inefficiencies and misuse, such as hiring temporary workers instead of providing consistent care, thus turning LTCI into a commercial venture. Feng Wenmeng, a researcher at China's State Council Development Research Center with a focus on elder care, argues that China must simultaneously develop and refine its systems. Without these improvements, he warns, LTCI risks becoming nothing more than an empty promise. Foreign professors nearly cleared from China. Analysis: academia is political. On April 8, Rao Yi, a prominent Chinese biologist and the president of Capital Medical University, released an article expressing concern that most Chinese universities are close to abandoning the recruitment of international professors. In detail, his article titled Our Experience and Lessons in Recruiting International Scientific Talents, Causes and Consequences, stated that currently, only Westlake University has more international professors than either Peking University or Tsinghua University, and it far surpasses all other institutions nationwide. Most universities have all but stopped trying to hire international professors. The Chinese Academy of Sciences, despite its wealth and over 100 research institutes, has had fewer than 10, possibly even fewer than 5, international professors who have stayed on in full-time roles. Peking University, Tsinghua University, and the Union Medical College, which has an American foundational background, have similarly eliminated almost all their international PhDs, with leadership predominantly held by those with domestic PhDs. Rao blames this trend on many universities and research institutions who feel threatened by the higher capabilities of international professors compared to their own leaders, which they find inconvenient to manage, leading to these professors being systematically removed. The next day, the state-run Sohu website published an article supporting Rao Yi's insights. According to recent statistics, of the 330 leaders, presidents and party secretaries, of top-tier and ministry-supervised institutions, only 22 have a doctorate from abroad. Among the elite 985 universities, those with international study experience are exceedingly rare, totaling just 6 as of March 26, 2024. This significant disparity in numbers calls for serious contemplation. The enthusiastic backing from state-run media has brought Rao Yi's article into the spotlight. Global readers interpret his observations as part of the Chinese Communist Party's broader clearing campaign. Following the zero-COVID policy, the article notes a subsequent clearing trend has emerged quietly, targeting foreign investments, expatriates, and recently recruited international professors. Zhu Mingyang, an independent journalist, clarified to the Epoch Times that these actions are driven by high-level CCP directives and are not isolated incidents. He highlighted the conflicts between China's push for foreign investment and its stringent anti-spy laws, which have created a challenging policy environment and led to widespread avoidance of foreign academics to avoid triggering the counter-espionage law. Recent incidents have seen students reporting teachers for perceived subversive comments, spurred by incentives from the state's security apparatus to root out espionage, reflecting a deep-seated surveillance culture. Public reactions to Rao's discussion have been mixed, with some mocking the government's spy paranoia, while others worry about the ideological influence of foreign academics on Chinese youth. Moreover, the political landscape in China makes it difficult for foreign PhDs to integrate, as seen with Peking University's and Tianjin University of Technology's efforts to align academic staff with national security goals. Commentator Xia Yifan from Japan told the Epoch Times, "This academic turmoil is a byproduct of the CCP's authoritarian regime meshed with entrenched bureaucratic norms, a hallmark of China's unique authoritarian culture." Furthermore, the ongoing spy hunts have made many school heads hesitant to employ foreign PhDs or give them too much authority, fearing accusations of espionage that could implicate their institutions. Top EU businessman plans to leave Beijing after unexpectedly getting caught in CCP infighting. The former president of the EU Chamber of Commerce in China, unexpectedly caught up in high-level infighting within the Chinese Communist Party, now intends to leave China. In detail, according to Bloomberg, Yuan, 65-year-old, a German businessman and the past president of the EU Chamber of Commerce in China, is relocating to Washington, D.C. to join the consultancy firm Denton's Global Advisors Albright Stonebridge Group. He will also step down from his long-held position as the chief representative in Beijing for BASF, the German chemical giant, a role he has occupied since 1997. Yuan, having served over 30 years as a forthright voice in China's European business community, critiqued Beijing's policies, earning a reputation as a key foreign business leader. He advised senior EU and company leaders and served on the advisory board of the Mercator Institute for China Studies, which faced CCP sanctions in retaliation to EU sanctions in March 2021 over Xinjiang rights abuses. In an early 2024 interview, Yuan expressed concerns that issues like manufacturing overcapacity and the CCP's lack of transparency were diminishing China's appeal to multinational corporations. He highlighted a confidential letter he wrote in 2022 to the Chinese State Council about the zero-COVID policy's harms, which leaked and stirred significant debate. Despite urging the CCP to end this policy, he described the effort as highly challenging without support from the Politburo. It is believed that this letter, which was sent to Hu Chunhua, then vice premier, could have been a critical factor in his removal by Xi Jinping. Previously seen as a potential successor, Hu Chunhua was ousted from his roles as vice premier and a member of the CCP's Central Politburo following the 20th National Congress, effectively sidelining him from the CCP's power core. Yuan remarked to the international press on April 8 that the leak marked China's most challenging period. He also expressed concerns before his departure that China's economic growth could slow significantly, facing numerous challenges in the next 2 decades. Don't forget to leave a comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.